Another shocking explosion has rocked the Formula One paddock. Ferrari boss Frederic Vasseur has finally spoken out about plans for major modifications to Lewis Hamilton's SF-25, a bold move that has raised questions and concerns among rivals and fans. Will these changes be Ferrari's ultimate weapon, or will they backfire and ruin their chances in the second half of the season? Let's discuss. Scuderia Ferrari is once again in the spotlight midway through the 2025 Formula One season. Though they were once touted as potential contenders for the Constructors' Championship, they have fallen far short of expectations. Currently, Ferrari sits in second place in the Constructors' standings, but trails McLaren by a significant 299 points after 14 races. Ferrari began the 2025 season with high optimism. Based on last season, when they finished just 14 points behind McLaren, fans were confident that this year would be a turning point. This optimism was further fueled by the arrival of Lewis Hamilton, the legendary seven-time Formula One world champion, who was paired with Charles Leclerc to form Ferrari's dream team duo. However, the reality on the track is different. McLaren has performed better, with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris dominating. Red Bull and Mercedes have also stolen victories. Ironically, Ferrari is the only top four team yet to win a Grand Prix this season. Ferrari has had minimal success on the podium, with only 5 finishes so far, all of which were achieved by Leclerc. Meanwhile, despite winning the Shanghai F1 sprint, Hamilton has yet to reach the podium in a major race. This is the longest period without a podium in Hamilton's 19-year F1 career. One of Ferrari's negative turning points this season occurred at the Chinese Grand Prix. In that race, Hamilton was disqualified due to excessive wear on his SF-25 car's floorboard. The FIA found that the floorboard's thickness was only 8.5 to 8.6 millimeters, well below the regulatory minimum of 9 millimeters. The incident cost Hamilton valuable points that would have improved his standings and left a deep scar on Ferrari for a large team like the Scuderia. A technical error like this is embarrassing and exposes the fragile foundations of car development. The impact was immediately felt at Maranello. Ferrari's technical director Loic Serra had to change the team's priorities. The ambitious 2026 car project, which had been a primary focus, was temporarily sacrificed to expedite an emergency solution to the SF-25's rear suspension. This decision was a major gamble because it required balancing, salvaging the current season with building for the future. Furthermore, a major problem was eventually uncovered. Ferrari's original suspension setup caused the car to be unpredictable, particularly on bumpy tracks and high-speed corners. Hamilton often struggled to find his rhythm, even in conditions in which he should have been competitive. This instability was the root of Ferrari's slump in performance during the first half of the season, putting the team under increased pressure and creating a crisis of confidence within Maranello. Ferrari recently introduced its latest rear suspension package at the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, a significant, albeit risky. According to Frederic Vasseur, deciding to introduce such a significant upgrade for a sprint weekend was difficult. It felt like a bold gamble. I was a bit scared when I arrived at Spa, they said. We have to test 5 different compounds on a sprint weekend. That made it very difficult. But in the end, everything worked out quite well, Vasseur told the race. Sighing with relief, this statement highlights the precariousness of Ferrari's current situation. Vasseur acknowledges that every technical decision has significant consequences. Delay in development could cause a loss of momentum, and a strategic error could put Ferrari further behind in the title fight against Red Bull and McLaren. The upgrades at Spa were a mental and technical test for the team. Failing to complete them would have cost Ferrari significant losses in the second half of the season. However, their willingness to take this risk confirmed Vasseur's and the entire Ferrari technical team's resolve. They did not want to be mere spectators in top-tier Formula One competition. Although the new suspension upgrades offered hope for more stable performance, Ferrari's problems were not completely resolved. The latest evidence of this came at the Hungarian Grand Prix, when the team chose an overly conservative strategy for Charles Leclerc to prevent excessive wear on the skid plate, a technical issue that frequently plagued the SF-25. Leclerc was forced to sacrifice speed instead of attacking and securing a podium finish that was within reach. Leclerc had to hold back throughout the race. As a result, he could only finish fourth. This left many wondering whether Ferrari was more afraid of technical failure than willing to gamble on a major victory. This situation further pressured Lewis Hamilton. He came to Ferrari with high expectations but instead found a car that was unstable, lacked grip, and was difficult to control on a track with fast corners. Hamilton's position in the championship plummeted to sixth, with just 109 points after failing to reach the podium, trailing Leclerc by 151 points for a seven-time world champion. This is clearly a disappointing result. Hamilton is accustomed to leading the pack and competing for first place almost every weekend, yet he is now struggling to even finish in the top five. The pressure is mounting as the media and pundits compare his performance to Leclerc's, who is more consistent. Many observers are beginning to doubt whether Ferrari can give Hamilton a real chance to compete for the world title again before he retires. Ferrari now faces a dilemma. On the one hand, they must salvage the 2025 season to avoid losing momentum against McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes. On the other hand, the massive undertaking of the new 2026 F1 regulations demands their full attention, a transition that could determine the team's direction for the next 5 years. Leclerc is in a difficult position, should he dedicate most of his resources to improving the problematic SF-25 or focus on the 2026 car, which will symbolize a new era in Formula One. This decision concerns not only the technical side of the team, but also Ferrari's image as a legendary team that cannot afford to appear shaky in the eyes of the public or its rivals. In Italy, criticism of Ferrari is growing louder and more emotional. Fans feel betrayed because after Lewis Hamilton's arrival, they envisioned an immediate revival and a return to the Schumacher era. But halfway through the season, Ferrari has struggled in major races, only occasionally shining in qualifying sessions without achieving tangible results on Sundays. The Italian media has also spoken out. Major sports newspapers have highlighted the disorganized pit strategy, inconsistent car performance, and increasingly questionable leadership of Frederic Vasseur. The question now becomes even more acute. Can Vasseur truly lead Ferrari out of the shadows of McLaren and Red Bull? Vasseur's admission that he fears implementing upgrades at Spa shows that Ferrari is still searching for a clear path to overcome its inconsistent performance. Modifications to Hamilton's SF-25 could be a turning point that determines the rest of the season's direction, but they carry significant risks, if not executed precisely and calculated carefully. This move could lead to another failure, further damaging Ferrari's position in the title race. Will they rebound with bold modifications to salvage this season? Or will they have to wait until the 2026 era to rediscover the glory that has long eluded them? Share your thoughts below.